welcome to Betweenplays Stock Market Strategies, Tech with Sandeep. How you doing, Sandeep?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I know we were talking about a whole bunch of stuff before the show, and it was like we were like, oh, let's just see if we can throw a video up on here because we started touching into some really interesting subjects, and one was streaming, right? Streaming, the
Yep.
power of streaming. So yeah, now saying like what 10 years ago or 12 years ago, um I think I had started streaming on Apple Plus. Well, not Apple Plus, but I think it was just Apple.
At the
And
time.
yeah, exactly. And I had stopped. I I wasn't watching regular cable because I found it was very expensive. And then I had, and all the DVDs were sort of going out around that time, and you can go to like HMV and you can buy like any DVD, even if it just came out for like $5 or $10. So I used to go and spend something like I used to love to have a collection of DVDs, and I'd go and buy like three, four, five, six, 10, and get them at like basement prices and like all these big names. Like even Iron Man, I think it cost me like $5 when it came out. It was like nothing, $10, $5. Every paycheck, I'd go spend a whole bunch of money, and so I was like, I had a DVD player in my place. I had about five, 600 movies that I didn't mind watching over and over again. And I had a, Apple for streaming. And, we didn't have to have cable that much anymore. And I remember telling all my friends, man, I don't think cable's going to be around in 10 years from now, 12 years from now. Like, do you use cable?
I do use cable, but mostly because I think there's certain things that are difficult to stream. So, for instance, I'm a big Formula One fan, and those are exclusive contracts. You're not really getting those on streaming unless you're using like a Justin TV or some kind of other streaming service, which is in the gray area. And even then, the quality is not that great. I mean, you can get it directly from F1. So, I follow that circuit quite religiously. And so, for me, for those packages, those really highly defined packages, that's why I stay with cable for certain things. But it's a minimalistic cable with a sports package that delivers exactly what I need. However, if you go back to, and you were talking about DVDs and stuff like that, and I'll even go even further back, CDs, right? So all my DVDs I still have, all my CDs I still have. I have a friend of mine, Mark, very smart guy, data scientist, works for UNESCO. He ditched all of his CDs because he's got streaming, he's got Spotify, he's got his YouTube Music, whatever it is that he uses, and he's ditched them all. But he did a really smart thing, which was he kept all the album covers because you can't really get those anymore. They don't do
Yeah.
printed album covers, and he's made frames and he's put them all over his house and stuff like that. It's actually quite cool, but and that's something that I've been gearing myself up to. But there's a sentimental value in not even the monetary expense that you've made to buy all of those DVDs and those CDs. There's something personal about it. I bought this one because this is what I wanted at that time. We've gone back, at least for music, into an era of one shot songs because you can just listen to them one shot or buy them one shot on Apple Music or whichever service you're paying for. I think the thing that kills me now is as companies like Netflix are now going to an advertising model. I sit there and I go, you were supposed to destroy cable. Now you're becoming cable. Why? Right? Like you've completely upended what your original goal was, which was to get rid of the cable services and deliver a quality service streaming. I don't mind paying for it, but then if I look at my notes here, right? I mean, okay, what am I paying for? YouTube TV, YouTube Music, Spotify, Netflix, Disney Plus, um, Peacock, Crave, all of these services. They're all costing me $15 a month. When you add it all up, it's costing me the same amount that cable would have cost. So,
Yeah.
what really was the goal here? And what are they trying to achieve? I think that's really we're at a transition point now, or a turning point, if you will, or a tipping point.
Yeah, I mean, it's true that um, when Netflix was dominating, I mean, I still believe that they still are dominating, but I mean, they have a lot of competition with Amazon and Crave and stuff like that, Disney Plus. But the thing is Netflix for like 10 years, extremely powerful. And what was great about Netflix is that they sort of had monopoly, they had power because they did it in such a way where I guess they had all the contracts and you could like see all the Marvels on there. You could have, all the, whether the children's movies, all genres, didn't matter who was creating those movies, who owned the rights to those movies. They were all going through Netflix. And I think that that was what was really great about Netflix is that, you paid your $10 or it was $8 a month. It was like $8 a month. I was paying $6 or $8 a month, and everything was on there.
If
Everything was on there.
if you look at the HBO model, right? The HBO model was the home box office model was exactly that, right? Netflix just took it to a different level. So
Yeah.
the home box office model was okay, we're going to buy all of this crappy content that nobody wants and it's nostalgic, so we're going to curate it and then we're going to organize it and then make it available to you. That's what home box office did, except it was direct through cable on your TV, but you had to pay an extra fee to actually get HBO. And
Yes.
what ended up happening with HBO is after a certain period of time, they started creating their own content. So that started with oh, I forgot the name of the show now. Oh, it started with Oz.
Oz. It started with Oz. Yeah, I remember
Started
Oz.
with Oz. So that was the first HBO program that they put together and financed themselves as their own original content. And Oz was groundbreaking for the quality of show, the content, the impact that it made. Much like with Netflix when they did House of Cards, even though it was a remake of a British show, that was their groundbreaking moment as well too, where they said we're setting up Netflix studios. So the models are parallel, just one medium versus another. And the streaming model, of course, is something that we all adapted to quite easily.
Yeah.
Whether Napster was a success or a failure or not, it broke a mold and it changed the way people view media versus the medium, right? It separated the two.
It's funny that you brought up Napster because I was going to bring up Napster and say exactly that Napster was the beginning of moving away from, you know, traditional TV and even going to the movies because you know, who hasn't used Napster back in the day until it was, I think, Metallica that brought up the whole rights thing and everything. They were on it big time. And I think they're the ones that actually brought Napster to court, if memory serves, or they were like the influential party to
They
be
were
able to,
one of them, that's
yeah,
for
to
sure.
bring it to light. Yeah, yeah, and probably because Metallica has such a big name. I mean, still have such a big name, anyways, even today, massive. So yeah, so of course, their finger on it is big, but I'll never forget Napster, man. Napster, especially in our age range. I mean, anybody between 45 and 60 really know Napster. You know,
Yep.
pretty well. And I think that was it. And I think that when Napster went belly up, people were like citizens like ourselves. We were like, oh man, I think we still tried to use Napster. You still tried, and Napster was still trying to stay alive. And then you'd get like the dubbed. Remember, you'd get like the dubbed movies, and you'd be like, oh, I guess I got to put up with this shit or whatever, you know. But then we went and tried to seek out other ones. Other platforms started to like emerge as to to get that content out to us because we didn't want the traditional cable. And you know what? Why the fuck would I want to, anyways, go and pay for an extra channel that's going to show me the same content all month long, just at different times of different days? Because you only have like 15 or 10 movies on there that month, and you have to wait for the next month for them to change one or two or three movies on it. You know,
Mhm.
you remember that how it
Yeah,
was?
absolutely, absolutely. All
Like
those, Super Icon, all those kind of channels were exactly like that. But
exactly.
this is we're an adapt or die kind of society now, or industry when it comes to streaming content and media, because everything is changing so quickly now, and everything is so accessible. And to be fair, everything is so easy to do. But if you think about, when Napster died, what happened? What was the first thing that happened? Apple announced that they were going to have 50 million songs on iTunes, right?
Yeah.
It was iTunes at the time, before it became Apple
iTunes.
Music, right?
Yeah.
And before they started coming up with the radio stations and all that kind of stuff. But they were the first ones. They went out and they cut the licensing deals. They were big enough, powerful enough to be able to do that. And the thing was about the way they did that was very organized, very calculated. And so that then opened the that's my Google Home. Um, Talking to me, asked me if I want to go for a walk. But at that time, when that happened, it was earth shattering, just as earth shattering as when Napster came onto the scene, because it showed that there was a need and a belief. They just weren't organized enough. And while Napster was a great idea, they didn't have a business model behind it. So there was no revenue, no one was making money. And so that was doomed to fail at some point, right?
You know,
No
I
matter
think
no matter what they were going to do.
and think about when you wanted music back in the day before Apple did that. We would, and even a little bit further before that, we would have, cassette tapes, right? And we'd be ready to like push record, and then we'd have CD mins, not Walkman, CD min, and
Yeah.
you'd still have the ability to press record, like, and then if you wanted to dub a tape for your friend, you'd have two cassette tapes next to each other so you can press
Yep.
play and record, and or pop out the back so that way you
Oh,
couldn't
I
record
was
over it.
smarter than that. I had a dual tape deck thing, so I could just do it right
Yeah.
through the back in the back.
And we used to hate when DJs used to talk over the song or at the end of the song or in the middle of the song. You'd be like, oh my God, they did that on purpose. What the? But, Apple Music was, a game changer because I'm a person of music. I love music. Like, music is just, it's so relaxing, it's just so relaxing and it brings you back or it just takes you away or something like that. But, movies are excellent too. But, streaming services, social media, I mean, this is completely the future. I mean, and I think that people have the opportunity, and I think, a lot of influencers and everybody starts seeing that, that's why they're just, content creators. That's why they're called content creators now, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, the challenge that we have now is that there's too much content, right? So I will open up my Amazon Prime or my Netflix and add shit to my wish list and just sit there and go, yeah, I'm never going to have that many hours to watch all of this stuff, because you just don't have that enough hours during the day. And the thing also that has happened as well too, which I'm quite happy with, is that the quality of the content has it's game upped. The stuff that you would get on cable is like, why would I even bother watching this? This is just
True.
crap. This is total crap,
I
right? Whereas, but you put $100 million into like House of Cards, for instance,
yeah.
um,
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, right? Like HBO put that together. The new one, which is House of Dragons, it's there,
How
and
about
the
the
Rings of
new
Power, the
show
Rings of
on
Powers,
Netflix?
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rings
the
of
Rings of
Power.
Power, right? So there's so much content
Mm.
now that's out there, is where we haven't even. Well, I personally have hit a saturation point, but I think generally speaking, we haven't hit a saturation point. But the thing
No.
is, we have to sit there and we have to wonder, what are we paying for and why are we paying for it? Because we've gotten caught up in this, oh my God, there's so much good content and it's only exclusive on Disney Plus, or it's only exclusive on
Yeah,
Amazon Prime or Netflix or whatever. So now I have to buy all three
that's a
services. It's
problem.
costing me $50 a month, right?
That's a problem.
Like, what are you paying for? Like, the whole point was to get away from cable.
Yeah,
That was the cord cutting
yeah,
message. Anyway, I don't know if that was the point, but
yeah,
I think it was.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you wanted to get away from cable and save money, which was the original intent, now you have all this good content, and and kudos to everybody. They're creating so much good content that even I can't keep up. Like I
Yeah,
will
no,
never
there's
be
so
able to
much.
watch every show that I want to watch before I die. And that's just this year.
you know, uh, yeah, definitely. Because if you want to watch, like Disney Plus, any kind of the Star Wars,
Yeah, absolutely.
splintering off of like the originals, you got to go and get Disney Plus. If you want to get a little bit nostalgic and go into Karate Kid and you want to watch Cobra Kai, then have to get on Netflix, right? And if you want, I don't know, if it's the same thing, and even sports now, there's so many streaming ways. There's so many ways of streaming companies that are getting these contracts that you could be with a DAZN, and they can have like all the kind of soccer that you want to watch, and then all of a sudden it's on Fubu that's got them all now, or depending on what you want to watch, and then you're like, oh wait a minute, I
So
want to see the Premier League, but I also want to see Champions League. They were all on one before, and I was willing to pay you $20 a month or even $30 a month because I really want to see. If you have all the soccer leagues and then all the FIFA stuff that's happened
yep,
on there, some people will pay $30 no problem if they get to see all that content.
sure.
But then you got to pay like 20 at one place, and then okay, well, I really want to see Serie A or Ligue 1 or La Liga, and then I got EPL, and then have the European, and then I got wow, like where do I go? I got like have four different. Oh wait a minute, but I want to see hockey too. So I'm not. How am I
Yeah.
going to get the hockey now? Because the hockey's not even on those ones. It's on that one. Everything's all over the place now.
So where we've ended up now with streaming is we are paying more. Most people are paying more than they were with cable, and to get all of exactly everything that you were talking about. And that's a problem because they're not working together, right? There needs to be um, a generic streaming platform, let's say, where you can get all the channels. I mean, Amazon Prime does a good job of it, but you still have to buy the channels. So you have to buy stacks, you have to buy stars, you have to buy all the stuff. You buy it through Amazon, and Amazon doesn't care because they're cooperating
The
with their
companies.
competitors
Yeah.
and the other companies that are creating their own content. But at the same token, then you are stuck paying all this extra money. Whereas with cable, the one thing, and I'm not a big fan of cable anymore because it's static TV and it's really difficult and there's too many advertisements and it's just a pain. But the thing with cable is you get what you pay for, right? Here's what I bought. Here's what I want. I pay one person, one provider. That's it. It's all completely consolidated. And that's where we are lacking when it comes to streaming. There are too many streaming services, too much good content, and we are paying a lot of money. And also the things that if you look at Netflix, right? So many streaming services, so many things that are coming together with lots of great content, but we're paying too much now, and everybody is obliged to pay to get access to exclusive content, which was the opposite of what cable was. Which we did want to get rid of cable cord cutting because of the static nature of what it was, but now we've moved to the other extreme. So we somehow need to bring the bar back to the middle, where we can then talk about deal with what we're paying for. If you look at Netflix has gone through a big change. They're going to come out with a low price package. Now it's going to have advertising. Well, as I said to you before the show, you were supposed to kill cable. Now you've become cable.
Well,
So
that's just that's where we're going. So you know what? I think we'll look into some social media stuff on the next show because it'll make a good for
absolutely.
some stocks, some public companies out there, even for my channel. But honestly, appreciate you having on here once more, Sandeep. And we'll do another show for sure on maybe the public companies that venture into these areas and the
That'd be
possibilities
great.
of in the future. So everybody, remember, please research, prepare upon, execute, stay strong. On to the next show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Betweenplays Stock Market Strategies. Hit the like and the subscribe button. Head off into our description below if you'd like to know where all of our social media links are. and also the podcast, whether it be Apple or Spotify. We will be doing interviews with CEOs, with analysts, and it's not only on the stock market itself, but also on cryptocurrencies and blockchains. We will have guest speakers. We will be doing panels. You will be able to enjoy a lot of different content. Have a great day, and always remember, research, prepare, plan, execute. Stay strong.